rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. Oh, well, we've had another decision by the Supreme Court. Good decision. Very good decision. We've also had interesting news come back from the Abrego Garcia. He is returning to the U.S., but not in the way that many leftists seem to think. And also, too, today is the 81st anniversary of D-Day. I'll get into more of that here in just a minute. Yes, Bonnie, yellow shirt, because it is... Yeah, my Don't Tread on Me one. It's my Don't Tread on Me shirt. Anyway, we'll get to that in just a minute. First up is the very special, the fantastic, the fabulous, the love of my life, the mother to my children, and the partner I could not have wished for anything better, is up for the Pledge of Allegiance tonight. So, if you are of mine, please stand, remove your hat if you're wearing one like me. If you're wearing one like me, and place your hand over your heart and follow along with Mrs. Whiskey in her recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And, of course, I thank my lovely wife for providing us with that wonderful rendition of the pledge. If you would like to hear your rendition of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself performing the pledge in your style or reciting the pledge in your style, and take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file it creates, you create it, attach that to an email and send it off to me. Send it to fans, F-A-N-S, at americanperspective.online. That's fans at americanperspective.online. And by the way, yeah, she was a little nervous the first time I made her laugh. The first time she did it, so we had to do a second one afterward. But hey, she got it in 2 takes. That was cool. All right. Well, as Bonnie already picked up, as Bonnie already picked up, I am wearing a yellow shirt. Why am I wearing this yellow shirt? Well, I'll tell you why. Because this yellow shirt is... if I can get there. Right here. This is the theflagshirt.com's Don't Tread on Me t-shirt. Take a look at that. Yep, there it is. Don't tread on me on the front, and even bigger on the backside. Nice color snake. Yeah, I know. It, actually it looks a little more orange than the yellow that's in the graphic here. Unfortunately, mine is a little more yellow than that. Oh, it washes me out. Well, you guys don't need to see my face anyway, because I have a face for radio, so there you go. Anyway, but yeah, it's hot here, folks. We're in the 70s. It is hot here. The low 70s, I think. We're going to hit mid 70s this weekend. In fact, they're saying that it's supposed to be possibly a record breaker this weekend for the heat. So anyway, whatever. Go to theflagshirt.com. Check out all of their styles, their men's, women's, kids, made in the USA, accessories. It's all decked out in the red, white, and blue. And, of course, in this case, yellow, because that's the Gadsden flag representation there. You can get them in all kinds of colors, styles, sizes, etc. And I've got plenty of them. You should go. Yeah, you should go and check it out. I'm getting nailed. Everybody from the southeast is sitting here talking about, oh, that's winter. That's winter temperatures. Yeah, sorry, it's not for up here in the Pacific Northwest. Anyway, go to theflagshirt.com and go ahead and check out all of their styles. Let me see. Are they still? Yes, they're still having their Flag Day sale. Whoop, let me zoom out. Flag Day sale, which is up to 50% off select patriotic styles now until June 14th. Go and check them all out. They've got some fantastic stuff in the store. And if you purchase $75 or more of their product, you will get free shipping. But I know not everybody can do that. Not everybody can do $75 or more of free shipping. So I'm going to help you out. If you go to flagshirt.americanperspective.online, that's flagshirt.americanperspective.online, you will be presented with a coupon code that you can copy and paste in the promo code box at theflagshirt.com at checkout, and they will give you $5 off your order on me. Go to flagshirt.americanperspective.online to get your coupon code, to copy and paste it into the promo code box at checkout at theflagshirt.com, and you will be presented, or you will be given $5 off your order on me. Go to theflagshirt.com and get yourself patriotized. All right. Well, obviously, the top topic of today, at least it damn well better be the top topic of today. 81 years ago, young men, and I do call them men because they're not like what the men of today mostly are. Young men did the impossible. They stormed the beaches in many different locations, launching the largest amphibious invasion in history in France and in Europe, with the idea to go in and take out the occupation and control of actual Nazi forces, not the BS Nazi bullcrap that the left seems to think that the right is. But yeah, it's anyway. So Dwight D. Eisenhower, who was the Supreme Allied Commander, who would later be selected as the 34th President of the United States, wrote 2 letters in the hours before 156,000 troops, primarily American, British, Canadian, and Australia, swarmed a 50-mile stretch of beaches near Normandy, France. One, delivered to the men preparing to march into the jaws of death, expressed his confidence in his men and his prayers for their victory. The second was a handwritten note in which Eisenhower said that he alone would shoulder the blame if the mission were to fail. Eisenhower opened in the first of the 2 letters with soldiers, sailors, airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force. You are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hope and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. In company with our brave allies and brothers in arms on other fronts, you will bring about the destruction of the German war machine, the elimination of Nazi tyranny over the oppressed peoples of Europe, and security for ourselves in a free world. Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well-trained, well-equipped, and battle-hardened. He will fight savagely. But this is the year, 1944. Much has happened since the Nazi triumphs of 1940 to 41. The United Nations have inflicted upon the Germans great defeats in open battle, man to man. Our air offensive has seriously reduced their strength in the air and their capacity to wage war on the ground. Our home fronts have given us an overwhelming superiority in weapons and munitions of war, and placed at our disposal great reserves of trained fighting men. The tide has turned. The free men of the world are marching together to victory. Yeah. So there you go. 81 years ago today, young men, some not even of adult age, snuck into the services at the age of 17, some as young as 16, stormed the beaches in and around Normandy, going directly into a hail of metal being fired from many machine guns heavily fortified on those beaches. Thousands died without even getting out of the water. And even thousands more died trying to get to those bunkers and placements. Folks, the greatest generation showed us in a very, very decisive way as to the American spirit and the American fortitude, as well as our allies that came along with us, that believed enough in America to know that America was going to make the victory. We did. We did it. That was our Second World War II. That was our Second World War. Sorry. In World War II, that was our Second World War. It was also our second victory. But we couldn't have done it alone. At least that's what it appears. It would have been a lot harder alone. America prior to this had gone into an isolationist thought process, and that was part of the reason why we did not get involved in the early days of the German Nazi invasions. We left it alone. We said, hey, that's none of our business. And World War II was the change in the tide and the change in where America started to become the world police. Like it or not, that's what it is. And now we are continually faced, I should say, with enemies and challenges and issues around the world, to which the President of the United States is looked to as the leader of the free world, to be able to present himself or herself, if we ever have a female president, in such a way to project strength, courage, fortitude, perseverance. These are just a few of the adjectives that can be used for the type of individual that is needed always in that office. We just spent 4 years prior to this, 4 years with a weak individual in office. In fact, now it's even being proven that he may not have even been there mentally in the office. And because of that, we are now having to deal with things like Iran, having to deal with things like Ukraine and Russia, having to deal with things like the encroachment of China upon a sovereign, essentially, not in their belief of it, but a sovereign country known as Taiwan, whom we are tied to. And these men and women, because there were some women, not necessarily on D-Day, but there were some women that served during World War II. These men and women of the greatest generation that has ever been graced on the planet did relatively impossible things across the globe. Whether it was in Europe on D-Day, which we celebrate today, or over in the South Pacific against a further entrenched enemy over there in the Japanese. To Iwo Jima, to Guadalcanal, to all types of battlefields across the globe. The Greatest Generation did nothing but demonstrate those attributes that I listed and many more. In my personal belief, I think they all would be appalled in terms of today, in terms of all the stuff that is happening today, the crap that's going on today. They would all be appalled at it. They would be disgusted by how this country, how far this country has changed since those days. Days when men were men, women were women, and America turned on its engine and created a huge fighting force, an indomitable spirit by which the American people went out and did again what we had done not much more than 25 years earlier in World War I, and proved that our ingenuity, our confidence, our ability to survive and create and manufacture and put all of our weight behind a common goal and common purpose. And that is to make sure that America, as the shining beacon on the hill, remains that shining beacon for all to look at and aspire to. So on this day, on D-Day, we tip our hat to the Greatest Generation. And unfortunately, many are not here for us. So, Pete Hegseth delivered remarks commemorating the 81st anniversary, saying, 81 years ago, Hitler thought his Atlantic Wall was impenetrable. He clearly had not met enough Americans. And here is some of the rest of his speech.
81 years ago, Hitler thought his Atlantic Wall was impenetrable. Many agreed. He clearly had not met enough Americans. A more daring assault had never been planned. The task was daunting, a frontal assault across the channel on beaches and cliffs strewn with obstacles and defended by heavily fortified bunkers. Our only advantage was that the enemy underestimated the strength of the Allied war cause. The invasion would include brave troops from the U.S., Great Britain, Canada, France, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Belgium, Norway, Poland, Greece, and Holland. On the ground, the French resistance covertly aided the effort. And as the troops loaded into their ships, planes, and landing craft, they received copies of an order from General Eisenhower, reminding them of the stakes of their mission. I have a copy right here. He wrote, "You are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. In company with our brave allies and brothers in arms on other fronts, you will bring about the destruction of the German war machine, the elimination of Nazi tyranny over the oppressed peoples of Europe, and security for ourselves in a free world. Your task will not be an easy one." He ends by writing, "And let us all beseech the blessings of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking." Now that's a mission statement if I've ever heard one.
All right. So there it is from our great and glorious Secretary of Defense. It's a great undertaking that we took on, and we triumphed in the end. All right. Quick update. I did get an email from Buddy. It does ask, and that was what I was looking at there at the end, of Hegseth's speech. He does ask for us to pray for him again. He said something about God taking him down a different path, so I'm not quite sure what that means. Maybe he says he will return, but for right now, it's anyway. So there we go. All right. So Kilmar Abrego Garcia is traveling back to the United States. But he's not traveling back because he's a Maryland man. He's not traveling back because he was, deported incorrectly, that he was sent to the wrong country. He's not being brought back for any of those purposes. What he's being brought back for, what he is being brought back for is to stand trial. He's being brought back to stand trial because he is believed, yeah, he is a member of MS-13. He is he is being brought back because Tennessee has decided to charge him for human trafficking. That's right. He now faces a 2-count indictment in federal court in Tennessee for his role in illegal alien smuggling operations. Anonymous sources have revealed to ABC News. So, yeah, he's coming back, and he's going to stand trial. So this is stemming, by the way, from the stop that was done by the Tennessee Highway Patrol in 2022. And one of the law enforcement officers can be heard saying on the dash cam, or one of the oh shoot, I lost what they're called, but anyway, the button cams or whatever they call them, can be heard saying that Abrego Garcia, who was driving a van full of men who did not speak English and claimed not to have any driver's licenses, was hauling these people for money. The officer said he's getting paid to haul these people, probably to Maryland, I would say. Sometimes they come in with dope. Now, after they stopped him, okay, body cam, thank you. I think button cam, it's body cam. Anyway, thanks 3 Chevy. So anyway, they stopped him. They thought that he might be doing some human trafficking, and they actually called the FBI. And the FBI told him to let him go. Told the Tennessee State Patrol to let him go. Well, now he's coming back. Yeah. Justice may take a while, but justice will be served, folks. And that article, by the way, came from the Daily Wire. Now, what's going to be interesting is even if he gets acquitted, okay, he can be immediately deported again. He just can't be deported back to El Salvador. They can dump him some other place. And personally, I think I'm thinking of an island in the middle of the Pacific that he could be. And I'm not talking about Hawaii. In the middle of the Pacific that he could be dropped off on. Anyway, so yeah, so there you go. All right, and this just in fact, it's just in, hot off the presses, so hot off the presses, by the way, that I don't even have it in the show notes. This in the Epic Times. Big win for Doge. The Supreme Court has actually sided with Doge in the Social Security and the other records cases. No surprise, 3 justices dissented from the court's 2 new rulings. So they handed the DOGE, the Doge, the Department of Governmental Efficiency, 2 big wins late today. The nation's highest court issued 2 unsigned rulings at the same time. One order removed a block on Doge staffers from accessing sensitive data at the Social Security Administration. Sotomayor, Kagan, and Jackson dissented in that case. No surprise. The other one formally blocked lower court orders requiring Doge to respond to Freedom of Information requests in a pending lawsuit. That order came after Chief Justice John Roberts on May 23rd issued an administrative stay temporarily blocking the lower court orders. And once again, Sotomayor, Kagan, and Jackson dissented. But they did not explain any of their reasonings. They just said they dissented. So there you go. In a 6-3 decisions, Doge is going to be able to access the records. So there you go. Yeah. And the reason being, of course, is because realistically, and this is why I don't even understand why the Democrats even tried on all of this, because of the fact that this is part of the executive branch. The executive branch has the ability to look in the executive branch's bureaucracy. This is this is a no-brainer. This shouldn't even be in front of the Supreme Court at all, but because of the leftist lunatic morons who are running around trying to stop the good things that Trump is doing, they essentially are saying, we got to stop this. Well, for those of you that may not be, well, wait a minute. Let me go ahead and before I move on to the next story, let me go ahead and get this out of the way here. Let me get a drink. And now, if you still haven't tried 1775 coffee, now is your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped. There's only a limited number of units available. In the starter kit, you are getting the bold dark roast, the smooth medium roast, and the Vitality Mushroom Coffee. Now, the Vitality Mushroom Coffee has clean energy and laser focus with no crash. And it's all single origin, small batch, toxin-free, mold-free. Plus, you're also getting, and this is my favorite, I think you should buy it just for this, the Gold Spoon Clip, because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. And a frother that's strong enough to stir up your coffee as well as your mother-in-law's political opinions. And you'll also receive a black 1775 tumbler that says, I don't take life advice or caffeine from a woke sea witch. It's $170 worth of coffee and gear. It's yours for $99. This is for the ones who have been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler alert, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they are gone. You'll get both beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something, just like Rumble does. Go to 1775coffee.com/ that's the question mark key for those who are, looking for it, /studio. Once again, 1775coffee.com /studio, STUDIO. And grab your starter kit before they're gone. Start your day with coffee that actually backs what you believe. That's 1775coffee.com /studio. And, yes, it is sweet tea that I'm drinking, Bonnie. Although it's probably not the sweet tea that, all you Southern folks seem to think. It's close enough for us Northern, for the Northerners that love to partake in it. It's close enough. Anyway. So we all know Karine Jean-Pierre. Yeah, she followed along with writing a book for some reason. She wrote another book, not another, but she wrote a book. And, Oh, Bonnie, I don't know about that. I know Sweet Tea. I do know Sweet Tea. Anyway, she wrote a book, and I guess people are buying it or whatever. But in the book, she says some things that, well, seem to be potentially rewriting history. You know, that's what leftists do, is they rewrite history. Okay? And, yeah. Peter Doocy's not having it. Peter Doocy is having a field day torching Karine Jean-Pierre's attempts to rewrite history. So he was speaking to Fox and Friends on Thursday, and he reacted to the news of KJP's home titled "Independent: A Look Inside a Broken White House Outside Party Lines," in which she is claiming that she's done with the Democrat Party after working in former President Barack Obama and former President Joe Biden's administrations. Really? Anyway, Peter Doocy is saying that KJP is attempting to rewrite history and her involvement with the Biden cover-up. He said, it's like I had a dream, and I opened up the first page of her book about the broken White House, and the first sentence says, Peter Doocy told me, and I didn't listen to him. He says, the thing about this book is that she, towards the end, before Biden dropped out, and after Biden dropped out, she would say that legitimate questions were misinformation. And I told her once, you can't just call something you don't like misinformation. Well, that's exactly what leftists do. They call things that they don't like. Most of it is facts, evidence, truth. They call them, no, that's misinformation. I mean, look at like the Hunter Biden laptop. Oh, no, that's misinformation. That's Russian disinformation. Yeah, it actually existed, and everything that was on it actually exists. Oh, no, that was modified by, Rudy Giuliani. No, actually it wasn't, because the exact same copy was in the possession of the FBI long before the information was released to the public, and yet not a single shred of forensic evidence has been uncovered that any of the data has been tampered with. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, Doocy continues and says, so I don't know how she is going to square being the public face of saying things that we now know were not true about the president and about policies. I don't know how she's not going to come out and say, you know what, just because I swore on camera that things were okay, actually, here's what's really going on. Yeah. So in a promotional release shared on X about the book, the Hatchet Book Group wrote that she takes us through the 3 weeks that led to Biden abandoning his bid for a second term and the betrayal by the Democratic Party that led to his decision. That was according to Red State. It also claims that the book highlights the importance of dismantling the torrent of disinformation and misinformation that has been rampant in recent elections and provides passionate insight for moving forward. Really? Really? Yeah. So Doocy himself questioned KJP numerous times about Biden's decline, which he broke down in a series of clips showing him confronting her and her acting condescending, shrugging off concerns, lying to the American people, etc., etc., etc. Now, obviously, the Democrats are pissed, and former White House insiders are pissed. And here, a prominent Democrat source said, quote, what her publisher means to tell readers is that she is incompetent, not independent, just incompetent, but we don't need to read about it. We watched it. Yeah. Another one said, put this bombshell at the top of the Trump book burn pile, right next to Jake Tapper's own toothless tomb. Yeah. Another one exclaimed, "I can't look away," when asked for their reaction to the forthcoming work. Yeah. One ex-official who worked with Jean-Pierre said that the press secretary's former colleagues had been cackling in chats all day and that they believe the pivot can be explained by none other than money. Yeah, really? Really? Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay. Oh, all these people who are coming out and having all these tell-all books and stuff, they're trying to jump on the grift. That's what it is. So the current grift is to poop all over Joe Biden, and they figure that they're going to cash in on the vast majority of Americans who are part of the MAGA crowd and everything else, who are going to be sitting there looking at this and going, yeah. These two, Jake Tapper, KJP, and anybody else who comes after, oh yeah, we got to get those books because what's in those books is going to prove what happened. Yeah, okay, whatever. I'm not going to buy them. I think they're probably going to be pretty damn boring and not have anything of any type of new substance, new information than what we already know. Okay? Yeah. So, Well, KJP figured that this book, this tell-all book, and her experience in both the Obama and Biden administrations was going to get her a new position. Yeah. Well, could you imagine seeing KJP on The View every day? Because there's some new reports that came out that she actually wanted a co-host spot on The View following her departure from the Biden administration, reported by the Gateway Pundit. This actually shows up in RVM News. RVM News. So according to sources that were cited by Politico, KJP set her sights on a seat in the daytime talk show table, but the effort appears to have fallen flat. They haven't gotten back to her. They've never called back. So, yeah. Oh, and there's some new information too, by the way. She apparently, KJP was working with a New York-based publicist, Gilda Squire, while she was still in her official role. Squire, who was former publicity director at HarperCollins and Penguin Putnam Publishing, was reportedly copied on official White House emails during KJP's time in office. According to Politico, the arrangement raised eyebrows among staffers. Yeah, it actually would raise eyebrows among pretty much anybody with common sense and logic and realize that might be a breach of security. Yeah. Yep. So Squire apparently has worked with many high-profile clients and publishers, and her presence in the official communications was described as informal, but it was frequent enough to warrant internal concern. Really? Really? Yeah. She's still trying. Yeah. Once again, the Democrats don't know anything about keeping things classified. I mean, Joe Biden took stuff when he was a senator. Not supposed to have it, but he took it anyway. Yeah. Yep. And kept it in a unsecured garage where his son and his Chinese investors from Rosemont Seneca Partners or whatever else had access to it. Oh, don't forget all of the unsecured boxes of classified information that they found at the Biden Penn Center at the University of Pennsylvania. Yeah. Uh-huh. These Democrats seem to like to leak like a sieve. Jeez. I can't believe it. Well, when you talk about you know what? This actually might, this story actually might fit with moron of the week. I don't know for sure, but it could be. It could fit with it. I mean, after KJP, anyway, after KJP. So there was this guy, all right, and he let's see, where was this? I got it. All right. So there's this guy who he was a masked white man. He gets agitated while talking about how white people are living on stolen land. You know, this is typical of the left, all right? And so he's sitting there and he's getting agitated about how white people are living on stolen land. He even says that they're standing on occupied land on camera. He was being interviewed or something. He was on camera for some reason. I'm not going to even bother why. But then he's standing there, and he and the other white guy on the scene, he says, they deserve to be robbed because they're white. And so there's this black guy who's standing there, and he says, okay, well, I'll steal your phone. And all of a sudden, the young white man protests and says he uses his phone for mutual aid. Really? Yeah. So here's reportedly the video on this whole incident.
Hey, who is this guy? Come with me. Here we go. Look, now he's running. There he is. He's running away. What's going on? You got a problem with us live streaming or what?
I mean, this ain't where you're from.
Is there a problem with me being here?
You're a white person.
What was that all about?
Y'all don't pay the stolen land tax?
You're white as well, dude. I don't know what you're trying to say.
And you're whiter than him,
No,
Billy.
you're white as well. I don't understand where you're coming from.
Because you got to take accountability for it. Yeah, accountability for what? Systemic problems.
Because this right here, you're occupying indigenous land here. You're occupying space that isn't here.
Wait,
So
but
are
I
you.
can say the exact same thing to you.
You can. And you should.
And you're occupying this
and
space.
we should. We should be calling out people. Honestly, he and
Who
I
is
deserve
we?
to be robbed.
Who's we?
You
Humans.
say we deserve to be robbed.
Yeah.
Okay, take his iPhone. Take it.
Yeah, give me it.
Take it.
I use it for mutual aid.
Give me it.
You want to help my mutual aid
Give me
friends?
it. Give me it.
You want to? Okay.
Give me it.
Do you want to see what
You-
I'm
Take his
just
iPhone.
said-
Take his iPhone.
You just said you didn't want it.
Dude,
Give me it.
I use this to help people.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
You want to go
Who do you
talk
help?
to Rhonda?
Who do you help?
I help Rhonda. I help my friend Corey.
You just said
I help
you
my
deserve to be
friend
robbed,
Omar.
though.
I help so many people.
I can't. I just can't. Oh my gosh. Seriously, what? What the hell? I mean, okay, look, I'm going to tell you this right now, all right? I am of European descent. However, my ancestors came over here in the early 1900s, and by early, I mean 1901, 1902, 1903. Don't sit here and tell me that we're on quote-unquote occupied land. That happens. That happens, okay? But it was part of the world back then. But seriously, don't sit there and try and apologize for something that I personally had nothing to do with. Like, I had nothing to do with slavery. Not even my ancestors had anything to do with slavery. And I'm just sitting here, and there's no way you're going to make me pay for reparations to somebody in particular who has been generations away from the slavery anyway. This is just ridiculous. These people have literally no freaking brains. They don't have two brain cells to rub together in their heads. Oh, my gosh. Here's what some people on X had to say. One guy says, I genuinely can't tell whether or not this is real. My brain tells me it can't be, but appears to be real. Another person goes, now this might strike some viewers as harsh, but I believe everyone involved in this story should, well, anyway, the mask is all you needed to see. Some goes, this is AI generated, right? It can't be real. Staged and lame. Staged, yeah, maybe. I could see where it's staged. But the problem is that even if this is staged, okay, even if this is staged, this is the intelligence of the left. This is what I mean, this is all they complain about. Do they not realize that the Native Americans, when we came and colonized this country, and by we, I mean the Europeans came and colonized this country, that the Native Americans were basically fighting from tribe to tribe to tribe, taking land, taking possessions, killing people, stealing and raping other tribes' women, so on and so forth. Again, this is the moron files. I'm telling you, this guy is a complete and utter moron. I don't even know where these guys were, to be honest with you. But I mean, yeah. Let me see if I can figure out who this was. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So it doesn't really say. Doesn't really say who it is. So yeah. It's just totally. I mean, go on. Yeah, it's just horrible. All right. Well, here is something that I actually believe should happen every single time. Because if people were, see, one of the problems that we have in society, okay, I'm laughing at the chat, sorry. One of the problems that we have in society is the fact that when somebody makes a false accusation, they generally serve zero consequences. We have taken out the idea of accountability and responsibility in our society because the leftists seem to believe that, no, I don't need to be accountable for my actions. I certainly don't need to be responsible for my actions because I blame everybody else. Okay. All right. Well, if stuff like this would happen a little bit more often and a little bit stronger, then I think that some of this bull crap would stop. So here in Breitbart, judge orders a woman who was accused, a former Dodgers pitcher, Trevor Bauer, of sexual assault to pay damages to him. So a judge ordered the woman who accused former Dodgers pitcher Trevor Bauer of sexual assault needs to pay damages for violating the settlement agreement terms. Well, I think that if you're accusing somebody of this and it's wrong, you should, you need to suffer consequences for your actions. So Bauer's been placed on leave from the Dodgers in 2021 after a woman accused him of sexually assaulting her twice on 2 different occasions in his home in Pasadena. She said that the encounters began consensually before turning violent. Now, Bauer maintains that the encounter always remained consensual. Prosecutors declined to file charges against him in 2022. He later sued her to clear his name. She countersues, and the settlement involved no monetary exchange between them. Although the woman was to receive a $300,000 payout from her insurance company. Well, on Monday, a Los Angeles Superior Court judge ordered Hill, that's the woman, to pay more than $300,000 for violating the terms of her settlement agreement. So on Monday, let's see, after the settlement, Hill claimed on social media that Bauer handed back an insurance sum to me that was meant for him in order for me to drop my countersuit. So apparently, apparently Bauer sued her in October, citing 21 similar claims on a podcast or on social media, all of them alleged violations of the settlement provision, forbidding her from saying Bauer or any representative paid her any money as consideration for the settlement. Each alleged violation cost $10,000, according to the terms of the settlement agreement. Yeah. So, anyway, on her now deactivated X account, the lady said that she refused to participate in this suit in any way, shape, or form, and that she would appeal or further delay any shot he ever had at getting his career back. He will never see a cent from me, she said. Yeah. Well, the woman is supposed to pay back $309,032.02. Folks, yeah, this is just ridiculous. But stuff like this needs to happen. I mean, seriously, stuff like this needs to happen. You go and falsely accuse somebody, and even if you do get it through the court, you should, regardless, have to pay for everything. Pay for court damages, court fees, damages. I mean, shoot, even if and it's stuff like this. When when you're accused of stuff like this, it's things like this that really make it hard for actual accusers, actual, people who have actually been victims of things of this nature or even some other things. It makes it harder for them to actually step forward. Because again, you have the rotten, moldy apple in the barrel that just contaminates everything else surrounding it. And this is part of the problem. But, yeah, she violated the terms of her agreement. She went ahead and she's now going to have to pay for it, thankfully. Well, we all have been critical of the FBI. We've been critical of the former FBI leadership. We have been, generally critical of the FBI talking to the people below and so on and so forth. Well, the problem that you have is when you stand by and say nothing, or you sit there and you're basically attempting to try and, let's say, just, keep your job. There are principles sometimes that need to be put in place. And, well, the FBI put out, as you recall, a anti-Catholic memo that honestly, this was back in February of 2023, where the FBI rushed to rescind a memo that it had issued on radical traditional Catholics. You'll recall that, okay? Now, the FBI itself rarely comments on news, but the memo itself was so bad that headquarters deemed to tell the lowly members of the press, like this writer, Tyler O'Neill, that the memo failed to meet the Bureau's standards. Well, folks, it relied on the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is a corrupt far-left smear factory that engages in routine defamation by putting conservative Christians and even certain gay and lesbian organizations on a, quote, hate map. For example, things like PragerU and Charlie Cook's Turning Point USA. Those are on the hate map, along with chapters of the Ku Klux Klan. They're on the hate map. And the Southern Poverty Law Center also branded Guys Against Groomers, which is actually a group of lesbian, bisexual, and gay people who disagree with the SPLC's transgender agenda, and put them on a hate map. Yeah, these guys the SPLC should not be used in any way, shape, or form with any degree of accuracy. It should always be laughed at. However, that was the primary, source that was used to put on the notorious memo from the FBI going against Catholic groups. And yet, and this is where things fall down, folks. This is where things fall down. Over 1,000 FBI employees, received the notorious memo citing the SPLC as the authority on radical traditional Catholics, and most of them didn't even blink about it. According to newly released documents from Chuck Grassley of Iowa, the FBI distributed the email originating from the Richmond, Virginia field office to more than 1,000 individuals in the FBI on February 2nd of 2023. Now, you would seriously think that the FBI folks would be like, yeah, this just seems like it's a little suspect. Are you sure? Do we really want to be doing this? But no, nothing. And so you sit here and you think, oh, it was just the upper management. No, even the lower echelons, at least 1,000 of them, were silent about the whole thing. Not one single person, according to an internal report, FBI internal report, no one contacted the Richmond headquarters with any concerns, suggestions, or negative feedback related to that report. The FBI only received positive input, indicating the importance of further outreach and external dissemination of intelligence to mitigate the threat posed by these people. But look, you sit here and you talk about these folks, and you sit there and say, hey, it's the rank and file. It's not the rank and file. No, actually, it's pretty much a lot of them. I mean, I'm not saying everyone, but there's a lot of them in the FBI. A lot of them in the FBI that are not willing to stand up and speak out because they were afraid, especially, of the last regime. I hope Dan Bongino and Kash Patel get rid of these people. I mean, they're already working on it, but I seriously believe that they need to get rid of these partisan hacks. You can't be in a police organization or any kind of governmental organization and be partisan. You have to have an objective, standoff kind of a viewpoint when dealing with your job in the government. You cannot be partisan. And the problem with a lot of our bureaucracy is that it's been taken over by leftist lunatics, and they are all in it together, and they are all looking to try and fight the government. You talk about the deep state, you talk about the blob, that's it. Our country was not meant to be run by a bureaucracy. It was meant to be run by representatives elected by the people and operating for the people. In other words, Congress and the President of the United States. They're the ones who are supposed to operate the country, not a unelected bureaucracy of essentially plants from one political party. No. And that's what the deep state basically is by all these people. So now, Christopher Wray, of course, testified that the memo was so beyond the pale that he said, quote, as soon as I found out about it, I was aghast and ordered it withdrawn and removed from FBI systems. Yet this report basically says that hardly anybody said anything. Now, there were a few that poked their heads up and said, hey, this doesn't seem to have a lick of common sense. One employee reportedly wrote, is anybody really asking for a product like this? Apparently, we are at the behest of the SPLC. Another responded that our over-reliance on the SPLC for hate designations is problematic. No kidding. Yeah. So, there you go. All right, folks, that is it for me for this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are there, signed up and signed in, search up the American Perspective channel. And once you have done that, you'll see a green follow button. Click that to get notified every time I go live. Also, too, on all of my platforms, give me a thumbs up, or if you really want to, a thumbs down. Across all of my platforms, whether it's X, YouTube, Facebook, and of course the aforementioned Rumble. We will see you tomorrow night. Saturday is 1 hour later, so 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of the evening, and yes, prayers for Buddy. Don't forget those. Have a great rest of your evening. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night, everybody.